The small silver shuttle drifted toward the massive Centauri space station. Inside, Jack Harlow adjusted his formal diplomatic uniform one last time. This was humanity's first official meeting with the Centauri Federation, and everything had to go perfectly. "Approaching docking bay 7, said the pilot. "Ready, sir." Jack nodded. "As ready as I'll ever be." His calm voice revealed nothing of his past. Before becoming Earth's top diplomat, Jack had served 15 years in Special Forces. Those days were behind him now, or so he thought. His file said diplomat, but certain people back on Earth knew better. The shuttle locked into place with a soft thud. Jack took a deep breath and stood up. First impressions meant everything in diplomacy. When the doors slid open, Jack was met by 6 tall Centauri guards. Their scaled skin shimmered under the bright lights, and their yellow eyes watched him closely. The guards stood nearly 7 feet tall, with broad shoulders and powerful arms. Each carried a ceremonial staff that Jack knew doubled as an energy weapon. "Ambassador Harlow," said the lead Centauri in a deep, rumbling voice. "I am Captain Grex. Follow me to the High Council." Jack smiled politely. "Thank you for the welcome, Captain." The station corridors were wide and tall, built for the Centauri's large frames. As they walked, Jack noticed how other Centauri stopped to stare at him. Humans were smaller than the average galactic species, and the Centauri seemed unimpressed by his stature. The High Council chamber was a vast circular room with a domed ceiling displaying a real-time view of space. 7 Centauri council members sat on raised platforms, looking down at the small human. "Ambassador Harlow of Earth," announced Captain Grex before stepping back. Jack stepped forward. "Honorable Council of the Centauri Federation, I bring greetings from Earth and the United Systems Alliance. We look forward to peaceful relations between our peoples." The head counselor, Varex, leaned forward. His elaborate headdress marked his high status. "We have heard much about humans. You are new to the stars, yet you expand quickly." "We are explorers by nature," Jack explained. "We seek knowledge and friendship, not conquest." Counselor Thren, seated to Varex's right, made a harsh clicking sound with her throat. "Yet your ships carry weapons. Your colonies spread to resource-rich worlds. These are not the actions of mere explorers." Jack had been briefed about Centauri directness. All ships need protection in dangerous space. As for our colonies, we choose worlds that can support human life, which are naturally rich in resources we need. The meeting continued for hours. Jack answered questions about Earth's government, military capabilities, and trading interests. He carefully avoided mentioning Earth's more advanced technologies, standard procedure for first contact protocols. As the session ended, Jack sensed the council was not satisfied. Their body language, stiff postures, minimal eye contact, suggested distrust. "We will continue tomorrow," Varex announced. "Tonight, you will be our guest at a welcoming feast." "I'm honored," Jack replied with a small bow. As he was escorted to his quarters, Jack activated his subdermal communicator with a subtle finger movement. "Initial contact complete. Council seems hostile, but diplomatic protocols maintained." "Understood," came the encrypted response from the human ship waiting at the edge of the system. "Stay alert." In his private quarters, Jack removed his jacket and rolled up his sleeve. A small, nearly invisible line ran along his forearm, where standard diplomat identification had been implanted. What the Centauri didn't know was that the implant contained much more than identification. Later that evening, as Jack prepared for the feast, a message arrived from Captain Grex. He was to come alone. An unusual request that violated diplomatic security protocols. Jack smiled slightly as he read the message. In 15 years of military service and 7 as a diplomat, he had learned to recognize a trap. But he would attend anyway. That was his job, to face danger so others wouldn't have to. What the Centauri didn't know was that Jack Harlow wasn't just a diplomat. He was something the galaxy had never seen before, and if they chose violence, they would learn this lesson the hard way. He straightened his tie and headed for the door, The grand feast hall of the Zentari station glowed with a soft blue light. Jack entered alone as requested, noting the positions of each guard and exit with practiced ease. His diplomatic smile remained fixed on his face. "Ambassador Harlow," Counselor Varek's call out. "Join us at the high table." Jack walked forward, feeling the eyes of every Zentari in the room follow him. The hall was massive, with vaulted ceilings and ornate decorations that told stories of Zentari victories in past wars. Not the most comforting choice for a diplomatic dinner, Jack thought. "I'm honored by your invitation," Jack said as he took his seat. He was the only human in a room of over 50 Zentari. Food was served on large metal platters, strange meats and vegetables that had been carefully tested for human compatibility. Jack ate small portions, complimenting the flavors. Years of diplomatic training had taught him to appreciate alien cuisine, or at least pretend to. "Tell me, Ambassador," Counselor Thren asked from across the table, "how many warships does Earth currently maintain?" Jack sipped his drink before answering. "We prefer to call them peacekeeping vessels. Their primary purpose is scientific research and exploration. Yet they carry weapons," Thren pressed. "As do your ships," Jack replied evenly. "The galaxy can be dangerous. We prepare accordingly." Varek leaned forward. "You speak well for someone so small." A few Zentari chuckled at this remark. Jack recognized the insult but chose to ignore it. "Size can be deceiving, Counselor." The dinner continued with similar tense exchanges. Jack noticed several Zentari guards moving to block the exits. Others had hands resting on their weapons. The trap was being set, and they weren't being subtle about it. As dessert was served, Varek stood to make a toast. "To new relationships between our peoples." Everyone stood. Jack raised his glass, scanning the room one last time. 23 guards, all exits covered, and the council members watching in with barely hidden hostility. "To new relationships," Jack echoed. Suddenly, the lights went out, plunging the hall into complete darkness. Jack didn't hesitate. He dropped to the floor as energy blasts lit up the darkness where he had been standing seconds before. "Seize the human," Varek shouted. Jack rolled under the table as more shots fired above him. The Zentari had clearly planned this attack, but they had made one critical mistake. They assumed darkness would confuse him. What they didn't know was that Jack's eyes had been enhanced. In the pitch black, he could see the heat signatures of every Zentari in the room. They moved around in confusion, but to Jack, they glowed like beacons. "Find him," a voice commanded. Jack moved silently toward the nearest exit. A guard stepped into his path, and Jack delivered a quick strike to a pressure point on the Zentari's neck, a weakness he had memorized from his briefing files. The guard collapsed without a sound. More energy blasts tore through the darkness, hitting nothing but walls and furniture. Jack took the guard's weapon and continued moving. His heart rate remained steady, controlled by internal regulators that prevented adrenaline from clouding his judgment. 3 more guards approached his position. Jack waited until they passed, then slipped behind them toward the service corridor. As he reached the doorway, the emergency lights flickered on, bathing the room in a dim red glow. "There he is," a Zentari shouted. Jack turned to see Counselor Varek pointing at him, rage on his scale face. "Kill the human spy." 5 guards raised their weapons. Jack's enhanced reflexes kicked in, time seeming to slow as his body processed information faster than a normal human could. He calculated trajectories, identified cover, and made his decision in microseconds. As energy blasts fired toward him, Jack dove through the service door. The shots hit the wall behind him, leaving smoking holes in the metal. Inside the narrow corridor, Jack ran. His diplomat cover was blown, but that didn't matter now. His mission had changed from establishing peace to survival and escape. He needed to reach his emergency beacon and warn Earth about the Zentari's true intentions. Behind him, he heard the heavy footsteps of guards in pursuit. They would learn soon enough that catching him wouldn't be as easy as they thought. Jack wasn't just a diplomat. He was something much more dangerous. And he was just getting started. 2 years earlier, Jack sat in a plain white room at Earth Defense Headquarters. Across from him, General Alan Wright slid a folder marked Prometheus Protocol across the table. "You've been selected for something new," the general said. "Something that will change how we handle diplomacy forever." Jack opened the folder. "Enhancement surgery. I thought I was done with field work." The general leaned forward. "The galaxy is more dangerous than we expected. We've lost 3 diplomats in the past year. Traditional security measures aren't enough anymore." "So your solution is to turn diplomats into weapons?" Jack asked. "Not just weapons. Living defense systems, all hidden beneath a normal human exterior." Jack flipped through the pages describing genetic modifications, cybernetic implants, and neural enhancements. It was beyond anything he had seen in his military days. "Why me?" Jack asked. "Your military background, your diplomatic skills, and most importantly, your psychological profile. You can handle the power without abusing it." The general paused. "This is voluntary, but we need you, Jack." 3 months later, Jack lay on an operating table as medical drones worked on his body. Dr. Susan Lee monitored the process. "The subdermal armor is bonding correctly," she said. "Your skin will look normal, but it can stop most energy weapons and projectiles." Jack watched a display showing his own body being transformed. "And the neural enhancements? Those are complete. You'll process information 5 times faster than normal humans. Your reflexes will be enhanced accordingly." The procedures continued for weeks. Muscle density increased, bone strength reinforced, vision enhanced across multiple spectrums, a communication system implanted at the base of his skull. Nanites introduced to his bloodstream for emergency healing. Weapon systems concealed within his forearms. When it was finished, Jack looked at himself in the mirror. He appeared completely normal. Just an average human diplomat in his 40s with graying hair at his temples. Nothing about his appearance suggested what lay beneath his skin. "Remember," Dr. Lee told him during final briefing, "all systems are designed to activate only when needed. Your conscious control is the primary trigger, but threat detection systems will engage automatically if you are in danger." "What about power supply?" Jack asked. "Your enhanced metabolism generates more than enough energy for normal operation. For combat situations, you have reserve cells that can sustain full capacity for approximately 72 hours. Jack wasn't the only one. Earth had quietly begun transforming all its key diplomats through the Prometheus Protocol. Humans appeared weak to many alien species, making their diplomats targets. The program changed that equation without anyone knowing. Now, running through the service corridors of the Zentari station, Jack's enhancements were fully active for the first time. His eyes shifted spectrum automatically, adjusting to the dim emergency lighting. His hearing picked up the guards' positions based on subtle vibrations through the floor. Jack reached a junction and pressed his hand against a wall panel. His implants interfaced with the station's systems, downloading a partial map to his visual cortex. He saw the quickest route to the communication center 3 levels up. The sound of heavy footsteps grew closer. Jack ducked into a maintenance shaft and climbed up, moving faster than any normal human could manage. His muscles burned slightly as they accessed their enhanced capabilities. Below him, Zentari guards rushed past his position. "The human went this way," one shouted, looking in the wrong direction. Jack continued climbing until he reached a ventilation duct. As he crawled through it, he activated his secure communication channel. Diplomatic mission compromised. Zentari attempted assassination during official function. Request emergency extraction and alert fleet command. The message sent, encoded in a burst transmission that would be nearly impossible to detect. Jack didn't wait for a response. He kept moving, knowing that his ship would receive the message but might not be able to respond. A maintenance panel